Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Seasonal Tokens Podcast, where Polar interviews people so you can do more investing and less gambling.
I'm also for the easy bucks than to put a lot of hard work on something that you don't even understand. So I would definitely suggest people to do their own research, but if they don't have any knowledge about crypto or things like that, they should focus more on how to invest and how to start mining. Because when I was starting, I was thinking that the best way would be to do mining instead of investing. But thanks to a few of my friends that have gone through something similar, but of course not with such scale like you, have advised me not to go to this route because I'm not the best in technology, let's say it like that. I understand mathematics, but not that much for sure. So I thought that it would be important for people to hear another point of view about mining, because like there are many places where you can see that people suggest when you are joining crypto to start doing mining before even doing investing. And this is something that I don't agree with. So that's why I wanted to hear your point of view, and I'm happy that you are thinking the same way. And I want to bring you back a little bit of what you said earlier in our conversation about all the great people that you have had the chance to meet during your podcast journey, which still continues at the moment. But my question for you is the podcast the reason why you have started writing for Forbes?
It's a huge reason why. So Forbes reached out to me a little over a year ago and proposed to do a book deal with me because they have a subsidiary now called Forbes Books, and Forbes is doing a whole line of published works in tandem with Advantage Media. And they wanted to do something in the Web3 space, in the blockchain space, and they wanted someone that was very knowledgeable about it that could produce a good book. And they just happened to reach out to me about it. And one of their biggest reasons for doing so was because of the podcast, probably because I've interviewed so many people and probably because it has broadened my knowledge so much in the space, is my guess. But I think that's a huge reason why.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely believe that they have done a great job of choosing you. I'm sure that they have done a lot of research and a lot of thinking who to choose, and that's why I believe that they have done the right choice. So what was actually the biggest motivation for you to write this book?
I'd say that I didn't really have motivation to write a book in the first place. I self-published a book actually back in 2017 called The Satoshi Sequence, and it's still on Amazon, and it actually did pretty well for never having published a book before. And the premise of that book was to talk about the future of where this technology was going to evolve into, and price-wise, how things were going to evolve, the cycles of things. And it actually did very well. I think it was like November of 2017 that I released it, like right before we had that first really big run up and Bitcoin went to almost 20,000. So during that period of time, it caught a lot of attention, and it was just a really good moment for it to be launched. And it was kind of out of nowhere that it happened. But since then, I didn't really have a specific desire or ambition to produce another book until Forbes brought the opportunity to me. And then I thought about it more and more. And I was like, you know what? This is not such a bad idea. Maybe I should do this. It's a good opportunity. Plus, doing anything and having Forbes names attached to it always looks really good. And having someone take over the marketing for me and take over the editing processes, publishing processes, the whole work, so I can focus and do what I'm good at, and I just have to pay for it, made sense to me. So we started working on it. And then as the book came to conclusion, I started to realize how good of an idea it was because of how much this industry has changed over the last 5 years since I wrote my first book to now, where you have micro industries in this space like DeFi and stablecoins and CBDCs and NFTs. There's so many different things that have taken storm that are far beyond just Bitcoin now and just crypto. It's evolved so much, and there needs to be some kind of updated understanding of where this space is going. And where this space is going is the next version of the internet, the decentralized version of where the infrastructure of the internet is going, which is called Web3. So my book, The Future Economy, largely talks about Web3 from all these different aspects within blockchain space, how decentralization plays into these different industries, how things are shaping up, and how it's disrupting the traditional world that we live in today, the traditional financial world, economically, geopolitically, and what that's going to mean for people like you. And then through the book, it's going to give you not just a better understanding, but an opportunity to find ways to invest into the space successfully and go beyond the traditional understandings of, oh, it's very volatile, it's dangerous, to no, this is legitimate technology. And if you learn to navigate it correctly, you can make a lot of money, you can profit very successfully. And that's where the newsletter comes in and will further expand upon what's talked about and learned in the book. And then taking that extra step forward towards how can this really start to benefit you. So in a roundabout way, I think my interest in doing the book has come far more from the process of putting it together than it was initially wanting to do it, which is kind of interesting because most people have an inspiration to do a book in the first place. I didn't have an inspiration. I guess you could say Forbes was my inspiration. It was more of a process thing for me.
Exactly. This is what I was going to say, that in most of the cases, people have some sort of inspiration when they're writing a book or an article or something like that. That's why I thought that you also have some sort of an inspiration. But Forbes, I believe, is definitely a good inspiration for sure. So can you tell us more about the different sections of the books, like more about how the content is structured in the book?
Yeah, so from a structure point of view, the kind of things you'll learn in the book revolve a lot around these micro niches that exist in the Web3 space and blockchain. So we'll touch on things like Bitcoin and crypto. We'll touch on things like smart contracts. But what we're really focusing on is, what the hell is DeFi? Why is that important? Why is that going to be world-changing and solve so many problems? How does blockchain factor into supply chain? How can it fix the issues that exist right now that are hurting retailers, that are hurting me? I can't even get my book published in time. It's gone from 5 weeks in distribution to 22 because of all the economic supply chain issues. How can blockchain fix that? How can we start certifying documents? How can we get the government more involved? What do CBDCs mean for global economics? How does China's CBC or the US Fed dollar that's proposed to come out going to affect us? It really focuses more on these things specifically that are happening, stable coins, NFTs, whether they're niche opportunities that are going to disappear or if they're developed technologies in the space, little umbrellas that are going to solve problems that have been long-standing for a long time. And because they're solving problems, they're creating opportunities. And when those opportunities, you can invest and you can make money in ways you probably wouldn't have imagined before. In this space, most people think the only way you make money is if you buy something like Bitcoin or you buy an NFT and then you flip it or you sell it in the future. But that's not the reality. You can build businesses in the space. You can get jobs in the space. You can raise capital in the space. You can crowdfund. You can start an institution. You can start a DAO. There's a million things you can do with a DAG. Smart contracts can be applied to just about anything you can think of that has a traditional middleman. And that can be a way to make money as well. It can be a way to save money in your business structure, in your business chain. So a lot of what we focus on are those subtopics in the space, but how those specific niches are going to help you invest and make money. And it has a way of wrapping around by the end of the book to help explain those things. Also talking about the best places to live, the cities that are seeing the most development around this technology, some of the best blockchains out there that you should look to invest in the future that are going to probably expand the most and have the most benefit, and a whole host of other things. I won't spoil too much, but in a way that's kind of the structure and the outline of what the book looks like.
I think that this book has a lot more value that people expect. From what I just heard, I expect that if you're a newbie, this would be a great start in the crypto industry right before you decide that the time has come to invest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The book is titled The Future Economy for a reason. It's not primarily just about blockchain. It's about this whole new era that we're going to live in with the internet. That includes things like the metaverse. That includes VR, AR, and mixed reality. That includes different ways of interaction and mediums of communication and content creation. It's not just blockchain, it's this whole internet, this whole new phase that we're moving into. And I think people are a little, and it's not their fault, but naive to the idea that the future economy that we're going to live in is going to be very different. They probably think this is what it's going to look like today in Web 2, where you have social media and, it's just going to be a version of that and along those lines. But the reality is it's going to be far more decentralized. You're going to have so much more control. You're going to save so much more money. You're going to have so many more privacy protections. And it's going to open up a lot more ways to collaborate and to work and to find opportunities to get a job, make money, start a business, raise capital in ways that have never really been imagined before. So, the biggest thing I want to do is open people's eyes to what that future economy looks like. And I really think this book is going to do that for the first time, because most books talk about the tech, and that's great. But this book touches on the tech, but it highlights what the tech will do.
Yeah.